Welcome to this week's episode of BrizeCast. This episode is all about the role of Commander Air Wing at RAF Brize Norton. Hi, Group Captain Andy McIntyre, Commander Air Mobility Air Wing based at RAF Brize Norton. So the Air Wing, it's a relatively new construct. Brize went first about 5 years ago, and the idea is we break out the station from the Air Wing to give two group captains responsibility for this massive airbase and everything that goes on here and globally. The Air Wing itself is the aeroplanes, the engineers, the squadrons, the operational output of Brize effectively. It's about 1,600 people, regular, reserve. So the Air Wing straddles both Brize and Northolt. The majority is at Brize. We've got the Voyager, the C-17 and the A400 and military parachuting all based here, with the Envoy under 32 squadron based at Northolt. My time has principally been C-17, but I was a flying instructor on Tucano for 3 years, and following promotion I've done a variety of staff tours both in crisis response at Northwood, career management and operations and safety management, all at Air Command, as well as Staff College in there somewhere. So over the last 20 years I've seen a lot of aircraft retire, both at Lynham, at Northolt and principally at Brize. So to have got into C-17 so early has meant that my original platform is still with us. We're kind of aging together, if you like. Yeah, I was really fortunate as OC-24 Squadron to manage multiple platforms. That was a really good bedrock for taking over the Air Wing. Now, whilst it had a training focus and a safety focus, obviously it's a subset of the Air Wing. But my role is to sort of take it another step forward. It's got a whole suite of new parachuting capabilities coming on, involving both C-17 and A400, and new parachutes, which is a generational step forward. Pulling that all together and working on the conceptual way of supporting Special Forces and land is really, really exciting. We've got Voyagers and A400s down in the Falklands, similar in RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus, but we support exercises, operations, round the clock, round the world. And we flip between the two really readily, so we'll go out in support of an exercise, but we'll prove new concepts in terms of dynamic force employment and agile combat employment by bouncing between the two, giving fuel to combat air, giving aid to people on the ground, or airdropping into Gaza is a great example from last year. And then we're always preparing for the next one. So we've done a long-range recce down to the Antarctic. That was really, we'd been talking about it for a long time, but the go signal came at about a week's notice. So to take our A400, refuel it on the way via Chile all the way down to Antarctic, just to look at an ice runway, which we're now going to look at how possible that is over the coming months. It's all about moving forward and sort of testing our boundaries and showcasing what we can do. But what we're trying to develop locally is our cutting edge defensive aids, the way we can support the higher end operations, to the warfighter skills that clearly Combat Air are very good at. So together we're trying to kind of work together to mean that we can bounce around the UK, bounce around Europe, the world, to deliver effect, move on to the next place before anybody notices you. So we will look as far ahead as possible to ensure that we can do that. A lot of exercises are participant with other nations, so we spend a lot of time trying to work out how we can get the best out of it while supporting them. We are also supported. A lot of our activity at Brize, we call it force generation, so that's local flying, and that will be, say, airdropping people or equipment onto Salisbury Plain. Now, we derive a benefit from that, but so do 47 Air Dispatch Squadron, so do the parachuting community, the Army, etc. They all get benefit from that, so it takes a lot of coordination to pull all of those things together. I try to get out and about as much as possible. This year already I've been on an exercise in Canada. I'm trying to build a relationship with the Canadians through C-17. I've visited the Falklands, my first time in over 20 years. And that's a really strong link that we've got there, as well as the operations in Shader. So just in Akrotiri. So just trying to be visible and get out and about. It's really hard. Brize is a big station. In terms of the people, they never cease to amaze me in terms of how ready they are to step up to the challenge and deliver for defence and for themselves. And just seeing people grow and develop is what it's all about. If you come back to people every time, I don't think you can go far wrong. I want to make sure that everybody's empowered. I want to make sure that all co-pilots are going to be a captain as soon as possible, then an instructor, and then a flight commander. I want to make sure that our engineers progress. I want to make sure that everybody gets things out of the Air Force that you can't get outside. Moving our people forward is what it's all about for me.